I love to hear the doubters, the naysayers, because I think it's something in me from my past trauma with my mom. You know, me trying to prove her wrong. You know, she would say, "Oh man, you ain't gonna win it." And I go out there and win. I come back with the belt, and she taking pictures with the belt. Look what my son got. Look what my son did. You know what I mean? But then, you know, when it's just me and her, you still ain't shit. You ain't gonna win the next time.
So here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And in this particular video, I'm going to be discussing Terence Crawford, and in particular, the relationship that Terence Crawford had with his mother.
One of the most crazy stories about your career is your mom.
Yeah.
It's about how your mom just never gave you any praise.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, not good enough.
She was tough. She was tough. You know what I mean? I love my mom to death. That's my heart. It's my girl.
And for those of you that are not familiar with Terence Crawford is coming off a win against Errol Spence Jr., undefeated Errol Spence Jr., in which he became the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And with that, I would probably say he's the pound for pound best fighter in boxing right now.
On inline skates, and the referee has intervened. Mamma mia! Undisputed welterweight champion of the world, Terence Bud Crawford.
And so when I was watching this interview with Terence Crawford and Joe Rogan, I was reminded of Bo Jackson, the story of Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson would talk about how his grandmother had a belt in one hand and a gun in the other. And I'm definitely not condoning that on this platform, if y'all know what I mean. But something like that, somebody doing something like that is something that would definitely come across as extreme and maybe cruel. But that's called knowing who and what you're dealing with.
One of the most crazy stories about your career is your mom.
Yeah.
It's about how your mom just never gave you any praise.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, not good enough.
She was tough. She was tough. You know what I mean? I love my mom to death. That's my heart. It's my girl. You know what I mean? But that was just her way of pushing me to be great. You know what I mean? And she just knew that her son was so competitive. She was just like, all right, let me see how competitive you is. Come here, little kid.
She would pay people to try to beat you up.
Yeah, no, we have gloves. We have gloves, and you know, cause
Yeah.
I come from
The key phrase that he said in there was his mother knew him. His mother knew her son. She knew how competitive he was. And that's why it's important to know your seed, to know your son, to know your daughter. Kids will show you who they are early on in life. They'll show you what they want to be. They'll show you what they're capable of. And as a parent and as a guardian, it's your responsibility to get your seed and your offspring ready for what it is they're supposed to do. Nothing more and nothing less. And so because Terence Crawford's mom knew her son and knew what made him tick, she knew what she had to do. Because he was so competitive and he told her that he was great, she said, okay, show me. It's not enough to talk about it. You're going to have to show me. And so she lined up the competition for her son to knock out. One by one, he knocked them all out, like he said. What she was saying is, show yourself. You're going to have to prove it. You say you're this, you say you're that. You got the confidence to back it up. But now you're going to have to show me. Basically meaning you're going to have to show yourself.
My family was all into boxing. My dad's side of the family, my mom's side of the family, so she was always tough. So she'll get the little kids in the neighborhood $5 if they can win. We'll be in the front yard, and you know, I beat them all up. I beat them all up. I'd be like, now what? You give me the money. You know.
It's amazing how it worked. I mean, now it's not something like I think a psychologist would recommend for raising a child.
Right.
But sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it depends on the person whether they can rise to that challenge. And obviously, it made you great.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that This is not for everybody. What works for one definitely won't work for another. at least not necessarily. And so that's why it's important to know who and what you're dealing with. You may have a child that lacks confidence. You may have a child that is on the opposite end on a Terence Crawford, and maybe he or she lacks confidence. And so it's going to be important for you to build them up and give them that confidence that they're lacking. And sometimes it may come across as a little extreme to somebody else. I can't tell you how many times that I've went to my child's bed, my son and my daughter, and I've sat by them at night, right when they were about to go to sleep, or sometimes when they were already asleep, and whispered affirmations in their ear, told them how great they were, how smart they were, how wonderful they were, how beautiful they were, and all the positive affirmations that I could think of. And every now and then, if I catch them at the right time, especially with my son will repeat what I've told him. He'll be dead asleep, and then he'll repeat line for line whatever it is that I tell him. And so that lets me know that his subconscious mind is in full force. It's in overtime. And that's why at night or early in the morning is the best time to hit your child with positive affirmations, because at that time, the conscious mind is less awake and the subconscious mind is running overtime. We all know the subconscious mind picks up on things and takes things at face value. There's no middleman or no middle ground with the subconscious mind. Whatever the subconscious hears is what goes in. And so that's why the scriptures tell us life and death is in the power of the tongue. Our words have power. Our beliefs have power. And so that's just a little side note. If you ever want to do positive affirmations, even for yourself or for your offspring, the best time to do that is going to be early in the morning and then late at night. It may be something that you may feel led to do based on your child and based on what it is he or she has shown you. And of course, this is not something that applies to sports, but this applies to all. Whatever it is, whatever gifts that your offspring are showing you. Like I said earlier, it's your job to nurture those gifts and guide your seed in the right direction and to try to keep he or she on that path. And how you do that, that's up to you, and that's up to your interpretation within reason, or sometimes maybe not within reason. It may seem unreasonable to some. But that's why it's important to be in tune with your child. It may take something that's a little unusual. And that's all I have for this particular topic. I'm definitely interested in seeing what you guys have to say on this particular subject, and we're all here for one another. And so some of y'all may have a different take on this, and some of y'all may have an experience or two to share, and it may seem unorthodox. And so I'm curious as to seeing what y'all have to say about this. And as usual, peace and chaos.